digital business. I'm Nigel Fennick, and today I'm talking to the Global Chief Digital Officer at Mars, Sandeep Dadlani. In this episode, Sandeep and I are talking about how to build digital products. You mentioned Treat Town. It's a great story. I'd love to learn a little bit, if you could share on how that was actually built. I mean, built in a very short time frame. You know, we hear a lot about agile and MVP and DevOps, and interested in what that process looked like from concept through to final delivery.
Every week, our consumer centricity teams, our insights teams were listening to the consumer and coming back and saying, hey, this week the consumer is thinking about X, and this is a new unlock. For example, one of the things we heard was consumers were worried about how would they celebrate Halloween. Would physical trick-or-treating be safe? Maybe safe in some neighborhoods, not safe in other neighborhoods. And so we really focused on the problem statement. How might we enable a truly delightful trick-or-treating experience to maintain and enhance the traditions that we have? We were clear that we wanted to complement the physical trick-or-treating experience versus replace it completely. And we were clear that we should follow guidelines around safety. And so we called for a hackathon with our top partners. We explained the concept on a rough page. It was literally one page. We doodled on it. This was a vendor briefing session.
Okay.
Within about a week, some of our partners came back with brilliant ideas. In that week, we had built on our ideas further. We shortlisted a couple of partners to work with that could be part of our agile teams. And after that, in about 2 months, we launched the product. Now, the two brilliant things that evolved from that was the following. One, we could expand Halloween for the whole month of October. We could never do that in the physical tradition, but in the digital tradition, nothing prevented us. So we launched it October 1 and had it run all of October. The second thing is we could crash geography. Now that I could decorate my virtual door, I could make my virtual avatar with all kinds of contraptions on me. I could trick or treat my uncle in Florida or my aunt in California, something I've never done all my life. I couldn't, because in New Jersey, I can't go to Florida and trick or treat. So we could crash geography and expand time together. But the experience of doing this, there were 9 sprints, 9 releases of the app, was a lesson in itself. After every release, we could see live consumer feedback. We could see a feature we got wrong, or a feature we got which was glitchy, which was never caught during testing. But we could change it in 24 hours and launch the app again. This clock speed of an enterprise, sensing consumer needs and responding every 2 days, was inspirational for me to see. I had never seen anything like this. That, think about it as a digital product. We just launched the product 10 times, kept improving it. And so for the future, we are wondering if this is a platform for Halloween, or is it a platform for all celebrations? Should it be a gifting platform for Christmas? Celebration platform for Easter? Could it then be a platform used for digitizing every moment that we want to make magical? You see, each one of our business segments has a purpose, a larger purpose: better world for pets, more smiles with Mars Wrigley and confectionery, healthy snacking. What if platforms like this were to digitize every moment towards that purpose? We would be a fully digital company.
Yeah.
And that's the inspiration from Treat Town more than anything else. The impressions, the downloads, the sales, all record numbers, which we won't talk about publicly. But I think the learnings, the inspiration, absolutely invaluable.
And I love the fact that you describe this as a digital product, because I think that a lot of my research this year is looking at digital product development, which is why I'd like to kind of just peel back the cover if we could. You talked about, doing 9 sprints and getting this through. A lot of people may not be familiar with kind of the concept of how you evolve a digital product and do it at that speed. Could you just talk a little bit about the sort of the role of, say, design in the process, what it looks like to bring a minimally viable product out and test it? Is that just a product that doesn't work, or is it something else? And then how you iterate that to get to something that you launch and scale.
Absolutely. I think this is another big unlock for us. traditional tech teams have made Agile, Scrum, and frankly, a product-based architecture also into some sort of a evolved science around it. But when we are trying to take a cross-functional team, not just a tech team, assemble them and move them to the service of consumers, then Agile and Scrum and a product-based architecture actually crystallizes more beautifully than ever before. For example, when the first time a consumer articulated the need of, telemedicine, I wish I could take my pet and get it checked by the vet over screen, we have established desirability. Now it's a question of quickly establishing feasibility and viability. We still don't need to engineer the full product, but can we do a mock-up enough of a pet across Teams or Zoom and a vet looking at it? Is it viable? Is it feasible? Once those three conditions are satisfied with even a basic mock-up, sometimes a drawing, you have your MVP. And that MVP is important because it takes a level of hustle and a level of discipline to get to that MVP. In our case, you can go look at LinkedIn. The executive vice president of Microsoft, Judson Althoff, did his MVP with his pet and our vet, and he posted the video on LinkedIn, and that MVP was quick. Then the second sprint involved features around it. What kind of data will the vet need? What kind of data will the patient need or the pet parent need, and so on. And so on and so forth. The operative word here is to continue to improve the MVP versus building the perfect product. Mm-hmm. I don't believe we have the perfect product even now, but we've launched it dozens of times till it gets more and more delightful as an experience for everyone. And the most critical part in terms of user testing is, well, the actual user is testing it all the time. And that is beautiful because we aren't making this up based on sample users who are in a different geography, who don't have the context of the actual users and so on. I feel that's been a big unlock. So our organization is really pivoting to a product-based organization that also helps work cross-functionally across different groups, the marketing groups and the supply chain groups and so on. Supply chain has their own pod, for example. They just together work and unleash product after product. Every Friday, we create provocation sessions with the entire senior leadership of the company to show what products have surprised us, what products may have the potential for changing business models completely. And I think the culture then of embracing such digital products and being open to the fact that they could change the way we do business is what is then keeping the enthusiasm going for people to pursue it. Otherwise, digital organization, product organization is a fad. It goes away, then comes back, and so on and so forth.
Thanks, Sandeep. Well, in this episode, we talked about how Mars is creating digital products and really unlocking value for customers through those digital capabilities. And we looked at Treat Town as a particular example of how they did this digital trick-or-treating platform. What's interesting about the Treat Town story is thinking about it from a point of view of developing digital product. It was about the importance of listening to customers and their concerns early on, getting that input from the customer, and how Sandeep's team challenged vendors to help solve the problem. When you unpack the development process, really what comes out of this is the whole thing was developed in 9 sprints over 8 weeks. After every release, they could see live feedback coming from customers that are using the product. And they could use that feedback to figure out what they did wrong, how to fix that. And in fact, they got the fixes in within 24 hours, so that every 48 hours they could do a new release, a new update that fixed some of those problems, a continuous process of improvement. That was a great conversation with Sandeep. Thanks very much. This is Digital Business. I'm Nigel Fennick.